And here we are. Anthony Del Toro, Foamfoot 420, Ralph Balderas, Tracy Bogert, Lucinda Sullivan, Sam Tobias, Hector Gomez. Yeah, Tracy, the Astros are insane.
Now, Duel.
It is Thursday, a throwback Thursday, and the weekend has begun. We begin the weekend on Thursday because we can, because we should, because we must. Man, oh man, oh man. So much going on in the world of sports. Astros on fire. Astros win 13-0 over the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. That is 10 in a row for the Houston Astros. They are the hottest team in baseball. 13 runs just adds to their runaway leading of Major League Baseball in the most runs scored category. A 13-run victory. They had been leading in run differential. That will certainly aid that. So Astros leading Major League Baseball in tons of categories. Speaking of baseball, the Texas Longhorns this afternoon in an elimination game, win or go home in the College World Series. I believe that's a 1:00 start. We will talk about that. Atlanta goes into Milwaukee and wins again. I think they've won every game won in these playoffs thus far. Trae Young, a madman as he's been throughout these playoffs. Team USA basketball roster set on the men's side. Some of the stories we're going to get into this morning, along with Shannon's Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays, Dallas Cowboys talk with Tanner Carlson, and more. And I see her on Facebook Live. You can see her on Facebook Live. We stream live video on AM 1300 The Zone, Ticket 760's Facebook page with portals through YouTube, Twitch, and elsewhere. She is wearing a tie-dye Texas Longhorns burnt orange t-shirt. Very nice. Shannon Salty Sweeney, how are you this morning?
I'm doing pretty well. It's game day. It's hard to be upset on a game day.
Yes.
And especially after that defeat Austin FC took at the hands of Minnesota last night. I could use a pick-me-up game. I'm glad I don't have to hang on to that in my heart for too long. I can move on to the next. And we've got Texas baseball 6:00 tonight versus Virginia on ESPN2.
6. I thought it was afternoon. It's 6:00 tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
6:00 tonight. Winner go home. And of course, the winner gets to take on Mississippi State, both teams who have already lost to them. So that'll be a good redemption match. Should Texas move on? We talk about it a lot. It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yes.
Mississippi has beaten Texas twice so far this season. So hopefully 3rd time's the charm for them. But we got to get through tonight first.
Very, very nice. How bad did Austin FC lose last night?
2-0, but the 2 goals came, I think, in the first 20 minutes of that match. And Brad Stuver, the goalie for Austin FC, he has been very on point. This is the first team he's ever started for. He's quickly become a favorite. His jersey has been selling out like crazy, or his keeper kit, rather. But last night, particularly in the beginning with those 2 goals, he looked stiff. He looked like he didn't know where he was. I was a little concerned. He did get his head in the game there later on, but at that point it was too late, and Austin just struggled to. They don't shoot enough, man. They just don't shoot the ball enough.
Okay,
They try and get the pass and the assist, and that's great. We love a team player, but if you've got an open shot, take it.
I just heard you correct yourself. You said jersey, and then you corrected yourself and said something along the lines of keeper kit.
You were right, because the keepers wear different. I mean, they're long sleeve jerseys, and they're a little different in design.
Keeper kit.
Yeah.
See, they have so many little. We're playing a friendly. It's a keeper kit.
Yeah.
You've scored 0. No, it's 0. You got nothing. It's not the field. It's a pitch. I don't know. Glad I'm an American. Glad I'm an American.
At the same time, I think.
I guess you can, but I don't know. Soccer, some of the little terms, it's some of it's a little too Euro for me, but that's okay. I can watch it and I can say it's 2-0. I don't have to say it's 2-0. I can call that a jersey. I don't have to call it a keeper kit. I can call it the field. I don't have to call it the pitch.
We'll come back to some of this in the shakedown today.
All right.
You have some across the pond.
Yeah, the worst is a friendly. It's a friendly. It's an exhibition game.
Yeah.
It's a friendly.
How do you feel about ties?
I don't. Oh God!
It do happen in the NFL. I mean,
yeah, but they shouldn't. Ties, I believe, are un-American. America is about victory. You either win or you lose, and if you lose, you lick your wounds and you find a way to come back another day. You learn from defeat. I don't like ties. I just they're un-American. If you ask me, I'm just saying. That's just me. I don't like them. I once the worst ever, and I think I told you I used to be the PA announcer for the San Antonio Scorpions, which were a North American soccer league team in San Antonio and the predecessor to San Antonio FC. And if they never showed up, then where San Antonio FC plays, Toyota Field would have never been built because it was built by Gordon Hartman and that ownership group. But the worst ever, I was there, 90 minutes of game action plus, I guess, extra minutes and halftime. The game finished at 0-0. We walked out of there at the end of the night. Nobody scored. It was 0. And I thought, okay, this ain't cool.
It's like the Austin FC's first home game on Saturday, right? I mean, you just wanted a goal so bad because it'd be the first ever.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, they played a pretty decent match considering, and they did get a point out of it, but I don't know, when you go to a game and you walk away with no points, I'm like, what did we just do for 3 hours?
Yeah. But that's the game, and people love it, and those who are purists.
It's a beautiful game. Exactly.
That's where I was going to go on that. That's what they call it. So, God love you people. And I do think it's very cool. Saw that huge crowd the other night at Q2 Stadium. The Austin FC fans are passionate. They are on it. They are rabid. They're there, and that team's only going to get better. It's a startup. It's the first time. They're going to get some wins here and there this season. When they do, enjoy them. Shannon mentioned they want goals. When they get them, enjoy them, and it's only going to get better. So there's that. Very cool. My goodness, the Atlanta Hawks. Take them lightly at your own peril. It looks like everybody who's played them thus far in the playoffs. I'm not saying necessarily that the Milwaukee Bucks took them lightly, but I didn't expect. And, we did a poll who's going to win that game last night. I think it was something like 75% for much of the morning picked the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks were at home. You kind of begin to believe, well, this is cute. This whole Atlanta Hawks deep run into the Eastern Conference Finals. It's cute. It's adorable. Trae Young, he can't keep doing this, can he? Well, maybe he can. Atlanta, with the come from behind it. I was watching that game last night. Late in the game, Milwaukee's up 5, and things were looking like, all right, Milwaukee's got this. They just got to get a stop or two and keep hitting some baskets, and they're good. Nope. Atlanta comes back, wins the thing, 116-113. Milwaukee really needs to win game 2 at Milwaukee coming up.
Yes, I agree. And I was part of the poll. I said I thought Milwaukee would take this. I said yesterday I thought, this series would maybe go to 5 games. I mean, that's still available as we've only played game one, but I really thought Milwaukee would kind of do away with Atlanta. Just the height difference alone between most of their players and the ability of Giannis, but Atlanta, it's like they have nothing to lose and they're playing like it, and you can tell. And they are scrappy. That game last night was scrappy, and then you add Trae Young just going off. They're going to be hard to stop. That being said, I still like the Suns for the finals and for the NBA championship at this point. So I don't know that it matters too much who comes out of this East side if you're a Suns fan, but interesting to watch. I was watching last night, and I don't know if I just haven't noticed, but in the middle of action, in the corner of my TV, it said like, click here if you want to see what Giannis is wearing. Like
really?
Shoes.
I missed that.
Now, And then there's also like during the commercials, like scan this QR code to see the courtside concert, and I'm like, what? Are we not here to watch a basketball game? We're also shopping and having a dance party, and I'm so confused, and I don't know if this is the NBA's way of trying to gather in like sneakerheads and music lovers or whatever to boost ratings. But I was like, what is going on? This is the conference finals. We shouldn't need all this extra stuff.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I am.
To the basketballs.
I am old school and I'm a purist, but I did hear you just say, and I know a lot of people agree with you, the Phoenix Suns are on a roll. Chris Paul comes back tonight. A lot of people think Phoenix is going to now just waltz its way to the NBA championship. But I would say to you, we were saying that about the Brooklyn Nets like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, it was a foregone conclusion. This super team, the Brooklyn Nets, they're going to win it. It's going to be a little boring, but we'll see who comes out of the West, and it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets. Now we're saying that about the Phoenix Suns, and so I would just say, based on what we've seen thus far in these NBA playoffs, Lakers gone. Hopefully tonight, Clippers down 0-3, which would be all but gone. And then the Brooklyn Nets gone. Granted, they had injuries, but same thing theoretically could happen to the Phoenix Suns. And the way the Atlanta Hawks keep playing, they may have something to say about this. So, I mean, it seems that if there were any year where all bets are off, and I agree with you, at the moment, if I had to bet all the money I have access to on one team, I would bet Phoenix Suns. But my goodness, it's been such a crazy playoff run in the NBA so far. I think anything's possible.
If you're the Suns, are you managing Paul's minutes?
God, yes.
And I know he's coming back from COVID and that he was asymptomatic, but we still, I know there's like some people get respiratory stuff that goes along with that.
Ooh, you're
and also
right.
Just like his history of him being hurt. Do you risk him during the conference finals when you could save him a little bit for the actual finals, given you're already up one game, given you're at home tonight?
Well, actually, they're up 2 games and they're in LA.
I'm already.
So
right.
So therefore, all the more reason.
We're already so deep into this.
Yeah. So what you're describing, I totally, yes. I say yes, yes, yes. Manage his minutes. Be very careful. You've already beaten this team twice without him. Maybe you could beat them tonight without him. Get him in there. Get him loose. But I would. I wouldn't play him more than 20 minutes.
Don't do what you did with James Harden in Brooklyn, where there's you let him decide. And he plays, but he's a shell of himself, and it's not working for you.
Yeah. And as expected, the other headline for tonight's game, and by the way, that's an 8:00 start. It's on ESPN. Clippers, Suns up 2-0. It's at Staples Center in Los Angeles. Kawhi will not play, and no update on his status. And Shannon, we've been talking about this, and just it's a flashback for Spurs fans in that Golden State Warriors Western Conference Finals series when Zaza Pachulia injured his ankle. Even though after the fact we found out there were some leaks supposedly from the Spurs organization, people saying that he could have played, and perhaps the medical staff told him you can go in Game 4 against the Warriors. Kawhi never did. And Kawhi, and maybe, he's the CEO of the gazillion-dollar corporation that is Kawhi Leonard Inc. Maybe he's smart. He's protecting the franchise for future multi-million-dollar earnings. But no Kawhi tonight, and most people believe no Kawhi for the rest of this series.
Well, speaking of no Kawhi, again, watching the game last night, and a New Balance commercial comes on. And it features Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son, and then some athletes, none of which were Kawhi.
Huh.
To my knowledge, I think Kawhi is the biggest name on that New Balance roster. I mean, the roasting he received when he signed with them. I mean, he's not even invested in those other opportunities that he's given. I just think it speaks a lot to his character. And I don't know what his schedule looked like or whatever, but I mean, we're in the middle of playoffs and I'm still seeing plenty of Chris Paul commercials and Giannis commercials and Anthony Davis if they can work it into their schedules, where were you, bud?
Good question. He is a different breed of cat, and if you look at his legacy, certainly in San Antonio, granted, he won a championship in Toronto. Good for them. And yes, he did in San Antonio as well in 2014. But, then all of those reports about his first year with the Clippers that got Doc Rivers fired, showing up late to practices because he lives in Orange County and everybody else lives in LA, and calling practices off, taking nights off just at his own whim. Man, we see all those shots of billionaire owner Steve Ballmer on the sidelines in the stands for the Clippers. I don't think he can be thrilled about having Kawhi Leonard going forward, just like New Balance can't be thrilled about it. So
it was just very glaring.
Yeah, very, very glaring.
Playoffs and be like, isn't Kawhi, shouldn't he be in this commercial?
And I wonder, how many kids and adults Kawhi inspires to go buy New Balance shoes, even if he was on the commercial. Say, oh man, great commercial. Whoa, love me some Kawhi. Yeah. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to get me some New Balance shoes because look at Kawhi. I don't know.
Because the message was like impatience is a virtue. And, New Balance is about now, like if you want it, go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's Kawhi like, I need more time to heal. I'm not ready.
We'll talk more NBA throughout the morning. We'll talk NFL football. We got to talk Houston Astros, the hottest team in baseball. 10 wins in a row now. They win 13-0 yesterday over the Baltimore Orioles. As Shannon mentioned, 6 o'clock tonight, Texas Longhorns against Virginia in the College World Series. A win or go home. Winner gets juggernaut pitching sensation Mississippi State tomorrow in the College World Series. Hopefully that'll be a rematch that the Longhorns get. We will introduce Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist, coming up in the next segment as well. We are giving away tickets. Cambria and Coheed and Cambria. Is that it, Shannon? I'm still learning. Yeah. A lot of people tell me they love them.
It's Thursday, and now you've got the first. Now you got the other 4 bands on.
Meet me at the altar and something else.
Coheed and Cambria is the headliner.
Exactly.
Anyway.
These other bands, they're nice, but Coheed and Cambria, everybody. Quick break. Our high five play of the day, and a whole lot more is coming your way. You can join us on the phone lines. You are always welcome. 800-736-9760 is your phone number. Join us if you would like. And by the way, that phone number is valuable to you when we give away the Coheed and Cambria tickets, which should be in the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:20. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show.
It's Duel here. Since I've experienced the amazing results with the sinus and snoring specialists, two words come to mind: life-changing. I wish I had gone in there years ago. I am breathing wonderfully. I didn't know I could breathe so well. I have the balloon sinuplasty. It's a non-surgical procedure. Helps eliminate recurring sinus infections, sinus headaches, reduces congestion and snoring. It is a 15-minute procedure. It is pain-free. Dr. Daniel Slaughter and his staff, so caring, so wonderful. I'm also doing the natural allergy drop therapy. I don't have the allergy symptoms I used to have before. Listen, you don't have to live with sinus allergy, snoring, or sleep issues. Sinus and snoring specialists are here to help. So check out the website, sinussnoringent.com, and call them 512-601-0303, 512-601-0303. Sinus and snoring specialists, you're going to breathe so much better.
Jason Paniagua, welcome. Foamfoot 420, the used. Thank you. Glad you know the band's Foamfoot 420. Michelle Johnson from Marysville, Kansas. Welcome in. Here we go. It is Thursday. Oh, I just thought you cut the music off. That was like a nice little pregnant pause there. Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. And while Shannon Salty Sweeney wears a tie-dye burnt orange Texas Longhorns t-shirt, Dave Ayler and Dave, I join you today in a rare t-shirt with no insignia. Just plain old nothing.
Show solidarity.
Woo! And yeah, both of ours are somewhat grayscale. So, woo!
It's a plain shirt Thursday.
Plain shirt Thursday. Although my baseball cap has part of a Spurs logo on it. Technically, that's a Spurs hat. People can't tell what it is.
That doesn't. Did you lose the other part of the logo?
No, I saw this and I bought it because I liked it because it was different. It actually, on one of the sides, it's got an actual little spur on it, but it's an officially licensed San Antonio Spurs cap. Doesn't have the full logo, just the little tiny spur part of the spur, which looks like a weird little star. But
yeah,
anyway.
that's why I thought it was a star. I couldn't tell. But I did see that your boy Mattress Mac put down over $3.3 million on the Astros to win the World Series this year.
I did not see that.
It's in your morning prep stuff. If you read the stuff I put in there.
I'm getting to it. I've got just stacks and reams of show prep that you provided for me. Mattress Mac, way to go.
3.35 million, I think it was. Wow.
And yet he finds a way, obviously, to when he's wrong, he offsets that with mattress sales and making a name for himself, which, hey, more power to him. I think that's cool.
I just hope there's a lot of trash cans in that World Series.
Well, and I just love, and they were even saying at Camden Yard yesterday, the fans were booing the Astros, heckling the Astros, mocking the Astros. It is more of this residual hatred that fans have for the Astros after the cheating scandal. So, Jose Altuve just belts out, a multi-run home run. Astros win 13-0. Astros have won 10 in a row. Best record in the American League. So I love it. I think it's hilarious.
And I look at it as that they paid their dues. They did the crime, so they did their time and move on. It's time to move on now.
Good for you. As a St. Louis Cardinals fan, just able to just let it go and move on.
They did the time, move on.
Woo! Very nice. Coming up a little bit later, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. This day in sports history, sports birthdays and more. That'll be in about an hour. But right now, we do it every morning. You might see this one coming. Somebody in sports deserves a high five. It's time for the high five play of the day. And I guess the biggest, as great as the Astros are, and it's nice to win 10 in a row, and it's nice to win a game 13-0 as they did yesterday in Baltimore over the Orioles. But Shannon, the Eastern Conference Finals, a little bit bigger. But before we go into the high five play of the day, high five, not just the name of the segment, 2 cool locations to hang out, nosh, drink, and have fun in Austin.
Yes, sir. And on Thursdays, we've got those $5 frozen margaritas, 3 for $5 sliders, and half off axe throwing. If you've never thrown an axe before, I highly recommend it. 2 area locations in Austin, 1 in Lakeway and 1 on Anderson Lane. So go check it out. High five on Anderson Lane and Lakeway. All right, today's high five. We would be in trouble if we didn't give it to this young man. Trae Young deserves it. He is carrying his Hawks through the playoffs. As if you just Google Trae Young today, the headlines are incredible, right? There's like he threw a disrespectful pass because it was so good, and he's on a murdering spree of another NBA city. But Mr. Trae Young put up 41 points and 11 assists last night in that Hawks win over the Bucks. I can't remember. If it was
48.
48.
Give him 7 more.
Give him 7 more. That's right. I'm sorry. But as I'm watching this game last night, he does start taking some disrespectful shots, right, from way deep. Shot clock's not anywhere near to expiring. He ends up missing one, and I'm like, okay, we get it. You don't need to do that anymore, Steph Curry Jr. But then he does it almost on the very next time they have possession. But this time, he gets fouled from Giannis, who has very long limbs. The ball's basically at the basket already. Ends up missing. But Giannis and his long limbs end up poking Trae Young in the face, and Trae Young gets to take a trip to the free throw line. And for those that don't know, Trae Young, very, very successful from the free throw line. He did miss the first one of those 3, but a very, I guess, smart play. Maybe he thought he would get that foul. I don't know. But dude is putting on a show. He's here for the moment. It wasn't just for that New York Knicks series. He is a true stud. And it's exciting to watch the Hawks and the Bucks, teams that people thought no one would be interested in this deep into the playoffs, be so successful. And for a star to be on the rise right in front of our eyes, Mr. Trae Young, congratulations. You get our high five today, sir.
Well, it's just so much to like about him. And, you mentioned Steph Curry. There are a lot of comparisons to Steph Curry. This guy could be the next Steph Curry. Trae Young, only 22 years old, born in Lubbock, Texas, but he went to high school in Norman, Oklahoma, and wound up going to OU. Selected, as you will recall, originally by the Dallas Mavericks, but they made a swap for Luka Doncic, and Trae Young became an Atlanta Hawk. And you talk about some of the shots Shannon he took last night. There was one where they left him wide open for 3, and he did like this little shimmy with his shoulders. He did like the shoulder shimmy, and it, if this were baseball, they would have thrown balls at him because it would have been disrespect. And it was so funny. So then they go to commercial, and then they come back and they show Giannis during the timeout imploring his Milwaukee Bucks to go cover Trae Young. And Giannis even acted out the little shoulder shimmy that Trae Young did before draining the 3-point shot. So clearly he's getting into the heads of the Milwaukee Bucks. And here's a 22-year-old guy taking the Bucks to school, as he has so far every team in the playoffs.
I think one of the differences we see between Trae and a guy like Giannis is that Trae obviously understands that it is basketball first, and he's very good at it, but that he's in the NBA and it's an entertainment industry. And so doing those really small things that get into the head of your opponent, but they're also the things that people end up talking about. Right? I mean, he is the reason why the Hawks are as prominent as they are right now in the conversation, not just the fact that they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, but it's what he's doing on the floor from his play, but also his style of play, right? Giannis isn't very flashy. The most notable headline for him right now is his free throw. I think the Shacked and a Fool was just given to Giannis for how long he takes to the line. So that to me is a key difference between those two guys, and I love it. I love that we're getting another superstar, and from a team that you typically wouldn't think of a superstar being on.
Yeah, you mentioned Giannis at the free throw line, and I know earlier in the playoffs they did call a 10-second violation on him because he took a lot longer than 10 seconds. Giannis is. We talked yesterday about baseball needs to make its game go faster, make the pitchers throw the next pitch faster than they have been. Giannis currently, I believe, is the NBA poster child for taking way too long at the free throw line. They need to find a way to get him to move it up or move it along a little bit quicker.
Which I don't get, because whenever you're standing at the free throw line, it already feels so long. So going past the time limit, that's got to feel like an eternity. What are you waiting for?
You got plenty of time.
I mean, that's the number one sign that you're not good at them, right? If you're taking it long.
And and obviously, and Giannis has not been good at free throws. You're right. And I just, I wonder, I mean, has he been doing that since Greece? I'm not sure. And I wonder also, for a big man who exerts himself in a big way at the free throw line, is part of that giving you more seconds to kind of catch your breath a little bit? Is it a way of adding a few extra seconds to rest a little bit? I'm not sure.
I don't know. We need answers, Giannis.
Yes.
We need answers.
But man, we back to Trae Young for a moment, and I'm looking at his Wikipedia. His full name, Rayford Trae Young. First name Rayford. Didn't know that. Rayford Young. Trae Young, a little cooler. Oh, and by the way, I got first of all, I got a little bit of an issue. They're calling him Ice Trae, Shannon. I'm from San Antonio. There's only one ice. That's George Gervin, the Ice Man. I just think
but
there's
Ice Trae, get it? I mean,
I do get it, but and again, do you want to be the Ice Trae? Do you want to be the ice itself, or do you want to be the ice? I mean, what is sexy about an ice tray?
Names aren't chosen; they're given.
Unless you're Paul George.
Well, no one's calling him.
Then you're playoff P
except himself.
Wonder what playoff P is going to do tonight. So I know Trae Young. It's only 22. He was born many, many, many years after George Gervin, the Iceman's career. So he may not even know who George Gervin is.
I don't
know
who that is.
Oh man. And well, don't even get me started on your Willie Nelson take. So I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. Don't Ray Wiley Hubbard might have to come after you on Twitter again. But
is he not dead yet?
Ray Wiley or Willie?
Ray or whoever that is.
Ray Wiley Hubbard, a Texas country music legend. He knows who you are, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Good for him.
Yeah, anyway. But Trae, come on, man. I don't think Ice Trae, and you mentioned nicknames are unless you're Paul George and you call yourself Playoff P. They are given, not chosen. But that's it.
Like,
Ice Trae is not very exciting to me.
Did you see this? And what are they doing? Are people bringing ice trays into the stadium?
That I don't. I hear the national media. I've heard Reggie Miller. I hear national. I hear people starting to call him Ice Trae.
Because you think of branding,
yeah.
Right? When you get a nickname like, maybe not like that, but I'm like, what does that look like? And I can't think of much.
Yeah.
Specifically an Ice Trae.
And even if just remove my George Gervin love and reference, just even that an Ice Trae. I mean, really? David Robinson was the Admiral. Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. Kobe, the Black Mamba. I think Ice Trae is. I think we can do better. And Trae, a Trae in the NBA is a 3-point shot. There's got to be a way to. There's got to be a better thing we can do with Trae than Ice Trae.
Give it time.
All right, yeah.
Give it time. I
just hope that doesn't stick. But again, Trae Young yesterday. If he keeps this up, I mean, how are you going to stop him? 48 points, 11 assists, a double-double, 7 rebounds. He's unbelievable. A +10 in the plus-minus, and 41 minutes.
Yeah.
Although if there's any talk about Trays, he was 4 of 13 from 3-point country.
Yeah.
So, and he did, you think about it, and this is kudos to the Atlanta Hawks. And this is why if they do play the Phoenix Suns in the NBA finals, I think back to that game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers where, he had a bad game in game 7, but they found a way to win. Other guys stepped up. And even though he had a bad game, he brought it in the fourth quarter when it mattered in that game 7. So this Hawks team, we're still saying, it's cute, it's adorable. And even if they do beat the Bucks, well, the Suns have won 9 in a row. The Suns are on a roll, but the Hawks might just keep on doing what they're doing, and that's shocking the world and continuing to win.
Yeah, they need to find. I mean, they had PJ Tucker on Trae, Iceman, most of the night last night, and the size difference is there, but Trae and his ball handling skills, he was getting the switch a lot. I mean, that's where most of his points came from. So I can see why he didn't make as many from 3 with a guy like PJ on him. But PJ needs to step it up, because if he's not locking Trae Young down, which is what he's there to do when you're playing against that team, you can't go and then only put up 4 points on the other end.
And again, and back to Milwaukee for a moment. You know, I've heard so many people say, especially now, it is such Milwaukee's not going to have this opportunity again. You've got this super team in Brooklyn that was injured.
Mm-hmm.
In the West, you've got Kawhi out. You've got LeBron done. You may be facing the Phoenix Suns if you can get to the finals. And now you're facing a young, in more ways than one, Atlanta Hawks team that you should be able to beat. You've got home court. You lost home court last night. You no longer have home court, but Milwaukee, man, you may not have a better opportunity than you have right now.
The road for them getting here, I think for a lot of people has been pretty easy, right? And I think in looking at getting either Philly or the Hawks, you wanted the Hawks based on the matchup, and you're not seizing this moment. But again, it's only one game.
True. Yeah, and man, Mike Budenholzer, we were looking for his next job, and they were left for dead after being 0-2 down to the Sixers. But they lost those on the road, and they were able to come back to Milwaukee. They just blew one at home in Milwaukee at the Fiserv Forum last night, and effectively, for the moment, lost home court advantage in this series. Coming up, we will take a look at everything else that is happening in the world of sports. NFL, as we move closer to the month of July. This is June 24th. That's training camp month is upon us soon. Lots to cover. The Salty Shakedown in the next hour as well. Don't go anywhere, and with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Sam Tobias says Ice Tray sounds like a rapper trying to imitate iced tea, but sounding like Vanilla Ice. Yeah, I'm trying to remove my ice bias, and I think I can. I think he needs a more formidable nickname, but that's just me. I don't know. Good morning, Beth Settle. You are up early this morning again. Carl Fisher, good morning. Joseph, what is up? Ice tray is too close to ashtray. Very nice. Yeah, and when Trey Young has a bad game, they will start calling him ashtray, I would imagine. Carl, I did not catch that Vanderbilt game in the College World Series, but they have been a force, no question. Thank you, Sam Tobias. You're with me on the non-love for Ice Tray Young. Here we go. 7 o'clock hour. Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, Chris Duel.
It is Thursday, June 24th, a throwback Thursday. At least if you see our Twitter pages, you can see throwback photos of Shannon, Dave Ayler, Tanner Carlson, who will join us just after 8 o'clock in about an hour, and myself. We begin the weekend on a Thursday. You should as well. If your employer, whoever that may be, if you're in the military, you got a drill sergeant or whoever your commanding officer may be, you need a note from one of us. We're happy to write you a note. We'll attach it to email, and you can either just show it to your boss or your commander and just say, hey, man, Shannon and Chris say that I can just, slack for the rest of all Thursday and Friday, just begin the weekend. And the next weekend will be the 4th of July weekend. So we've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up. Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney, a little bit later in the show. In fact, just a little over an hour from now, we're giving away tickets. Coheed and Cambria, along with The Used and Meet Me at the Altar at Circuit of the Americas on September 4th. The phone number, same one you used to dial us up if you want to talk to us on the show. That is 800-707-9760, 800-707-9760. Later this hour, Shannon's Salty Shakedown, this day in sports history and sports birthdays. And Shannon, among the off-the-court NBA and basketball news yesterday, a coaching vacancy was filled in the NBA. The Boston Celtics hired former Spurs assistant and member of the Greg Popovich coaching tree, and most recently, Brooklyn Nets assistant coach Ime Udoka. So as a Spurs fan, as a Pop fan, it's kind of cool to see yet another Popovich protege getting a head coaching gig in the NBA.
Well, and the big thing that came with the Celtics announcement was Jay Williams sending out a tweet congratulating him on being the first African American to become head coach of the Boston Celtics, which, if you've been around even since 2008, when Doc Rivers won a championship as head coach of the Boston Celtics, you would know that is not true. And I believe they've had, I think,
even before that, yes,
6 coaches of color. And
Bill Russell was coach at one time, wasn't he? A player coach?
And so Jay Williams deletes the tweet and then has another tweet later that's like, I was hacked or something, or I've taken, like,
I was hacked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, because the hacker takes so much time to put all those emojis that were also in there too, because they wanted it to really pop.
Yeah, when I was a kid, KC Jones was the head coach, African-American. ML Carr, I didn't know ML Carr was head coach from 95 to 97. But my God, wow. Yeah, Bill Russell, a player coach from 66 to 69. After Red Auerbach retired in 66, and before Tom Heinsohn, how'd you miss Bill Russell? My goodness.
I mean, even I get no one's a historian on everything.
Yeah.
But you are an ESPN analyst for the NBA, and Doc Rivers still in the league.
Yes. Well, and that's such a big proclamation.
Still in the league, and that still being kind of his claim to fame, right? What he did with the Celtics.
Yeah.
For that to come out, I mean, people rightfully roasted this man. His response was, as it relates to the Boston Celtics tweet that came from my account a couple of hours ago, I did not post that, and my passcode has now been changed.
Do you believe that, Shannon?
No, not for
Hell
a
no.
second.
Hell no.
And neither does anyone else.
Oh my God. And that's even worse.
That's like when someone posts a video or a picture on social media and you have the people that comment first, Like, he just wanted to be the first to say something or congratulate, so he'd get the most likes and retweets, and he didn't bother to check his work before he turned it in.
You know what? I'm looking at his Wikipedia. Jay Williams played basketball in Austin in 2006. He was an Austin Toro in 2006.
I remember them.
Out of Duke. Well, and again, Shannon, all right, he's an ESPN analyst, right? If you and I were ever to tweet something, and that's a big deal, you know, if you believe that somebody is the first African-American coach of the Boston Celtics or any team, and you or I, we're not, you know, ESPN national basketball analysts. If you or I were going to tweet that, we'd go check it you know, I really think this is the first African-American head coach. Let me double check that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Do you think he actually thought that, or someone like a friend was messing with him and texted it?
I don't know.
And he like ran with it. Because was it a bad tweet? Is it harmful? No.
It's
but
just
when you're in
ignorant.
the position that he's in,
yes,
it's not a fantastic look.
Yeah.
And we're ready for ESPN to respond.
It's ill-informed, and on a weird way, not directly, but indirectly, it's a little bit of an indictment on the Boston Celtics.
Sure.
You know, a team that can say, hey, man, since 1966, when there were not, let's be honest, there were, I mean, and there's not, I mean, in all sports, there should probably be, given the percentage of players who are African-American, there should probably be more African-American head coaches, but Boston can say 1966, Bill Russell was our head coach when, and I don't like Jay Williams. I haven't researched this, but I know I need to, but I'm guessing there were probably not any other African-American head coaches in the NBA in 1966. And let me add, I could be wrong because I'm saying that without researching it, but I'm letting you know that. I'll bet you there were no other African-American head coaches in the NBA in 1966. Just a theory on my part. So, wow. Jay Williams. Dude. Okay, so there's that. One other piece of information. So now we're down to 6, by the way. We've been talking about NBA head coaching openings. Now we're down to 6. So there's also that. Is another thing, Shannon, you and I have been talking about a lot. Team USA basketball, the team that will play for Coach Greg Popovich and assistant coach Steve Kerr in the Tokyo Olympics. The roster is finalized now. It's official. And the headliner is Kevin Durant. We found out yesterday that James Harden wanted to play and was going to play, but he is forced to withdraw from Team USA due to a hamstring injury. So looking at the Team USA roster, you've got, and apparently this is now the final roster, Chicago Bulls guard Zach LaVine, Detroit Pistons forward Jeremy Grant, as I mentioned, Kevin Durant, Golden State Warrior. This is interesting. Draymond Green, his former Warriors teammate on that team. There are some people who believe, Shannon, one of the reasons Kevin Durant left the Warriors was he was not getting along with Draymond Green. That's kind of interesting.
I mean, I don't think Draymond will start, so I think KD's cool with it.
Probably. But, you know, just having, it's like if you don't like somebody, and as you brought this up, they're so restrictive in Tokyo, you can't, I mean, you've got to pretty much, when you're not playing the games, it's like back to the Olympic Village with you. It's not like you can go partying at night in Tokyo and get away from your teammates necessarily.
Yeah, we hope you like your teammates because they're the only people you want to hang out with.
So other notables on the roster. Go ahead.
Oh, well, in the case of Harden, it's interesting because we're now saying the hamstring isn't going to be ready in a month from now. Yet he was cool to, I don't know, do whatever that was on the floor for the last couple of Nets games.
Well, unlike Kawhi, I think he was willing to play hurt and do his best. You know, he had issues, but he said, you know what? I want my team to win and advance, so let me go do what I can do.
But
so
you will get the people that are like, but you won't do it for your country?
Yeah, there you go. There's that. That's a good point.
Selfish.
That's a good point.
I don't care. I don't need them. I think we're fine no matter what.
Yeah, other names, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, and Kevin Love are on that roster, along with, so these are interesting. 3 players on the roster are still playing, and Game 7 of the NBA Finals could go on July 22nd. It will be, if there is a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, it is scheduled for July 22nd. Team USA's first game is July 25th, 3 days later against France. So these 3 players could be playing in that Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday of the Milwaukee Bucks and Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns.
If you were in that position, you're playing Game 7, win or lose, are you then going halfway across the world to play in a game 3 days later?
I think I am. If you're young,
for sure. If you lose,
yeah. And again, if I think Pop and Steve Kerr would probably be cool if you were a day or 2 late and you missed Game 1 against France. I don't know that. I'm no Jay Williams. I'm saying that without researching it, but I would imagine that those guys could be a game or 2 late if they're playing in the NBA Finals. So anyway,
if I were to win the NBA Finals, I would want to have the parade and have my night of drunken glory and do all the talk shows and be the face, right? And get all that sponsorship money while I can. If I lose, I'm immediately hopping on a plane so I can go try and win something, because you are almost guaranteed at least a medal when you play for Team USA basketball.
I can see both. Yep, you're right. I can. That's a very good philosophy. If you win it, revel in it. It may never happen again. Yeah, party that night crazily until sunrise. Do the parade, and yeah, I absolutely agree with you on all of that. An ugly story out of high school basketball. We'll stick with basketball for just a second. A coach has been fired, and I saw some video footage of this. There was a high school basketball game, I believe in Southern California, and it's great. I started talking about it before I scrolled to it. I got it now. Coronado High School, which is in very Southern California. It's just north of San Diego. Coronado High School basketball coach J.D. LePerry has been fired from his job following an apparent racist incident. There was a game that Coronado High School was playing against another high school that was predominantly Latino. I believe it was Orange Glen High School. And it was a championship game. The championship game between Coronado High School and Orange Glen High School on Saturday night. Coronado ekes out a 3-point win. It was a hotly contested game. And apparently Orange Glen High School is predominantly Latino. So somebody had the great idea after the game to start throwing tortillas at the Orange Glen players. And apparently Coach J.D. LePerry hurled cuss words at the other team and the other coach. That's why you don't talk like blank. Get your kids and get the blank out of here. And according to the report, at least 2 of the players for Coronado were seen throwing the tortillas after the incident. This brings up a couple of thoughts to me, Shannon. First of all, doesn't Texas Tech throw tortillas? I mean, obviously for another reason. Yeah. And I never understood, okay, Texas Tech, Lubbock, Red Raiders throwing tortillas. I don't fully, it's like ice tray. I don't fully understand it, but okay, I guess it's a thing. Have you ever understood why Texas Tech fans throw tortillas?
I don't know where that tradition came from. I think now it's just tradition and you just think that's what they're known for. But I don't think it came out of the same angst of which this.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw the headlines of the story, I thought, well, they do that in Lubbock. What's the big deal? And then you read and you're like, oh, that's not, no.
Yeah.
Those are different.
Yeah, when you're playing a predominantly Hispanic school and you're a predominantly apparently either white or non-Hispanic school or roster, probably not cool.
In Lubbock, it's probably just easy to sneak in tortillas, I would think.
Yes.
You're not going to go off on a metal detector. They're flat to your chest.
Yeah, and on a certain level, it's kind of funny. It's a spectacle. I'm not slamming Lubbock or Texas Tech for doing it, but I mean, what in 2021? What? And again, I don't know that this coach knew that, and apparently some fan brought the tortillas in, and I've seen the video, and there's tortillas flying all over the arena after the game, after Coronado High School wins this game. And I guess, according to this report, a couple of the players then picked up the tortillas and then were hurling them at Orange Glen High School players. So, but I mean, first of all, for the players, and I know maybe you're 16, maybe you're 17, but you've got to realize how stupid and racist and wrong that is symbolically, if that's what you're doing. And secondly, I mean, just removing race. How about a little class? I mean, I get celebrating, I get confetti, I get high-fiving your teammates and hugging one another. Even if it is a hotly contested game, do you then, when you win the championship, throw anything at the other team and point at them? And that's just a little ridiculous to me.
I think everyone is so into like wanting to have that 50 minutes of fame and get the likes and whatever and go viral. Mm-hmm. So they think of, well, what would make me go viral? And they don't think of what are the consequences of me going viral and why would this thing make me go viral? And in this case, it's not for a good reason. You shouldn't have done it. It's stupid.
Yes.
You're not at a Tech football game.
No. And again, whoever, thought symbolically about doing this was just wrong, and it's ridiculous, and it's ugly, and it's racist.
And a waste of good tortillas.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the tortilla. The tortilla is so versatile. Not only can you make fajitas, tacos, you can make quesadillas, and even when I was growing up in San Antonio at a Mexican restaurant, I mean, they bring out the tortilla and you just lather them in butter. A hot tortilla lathered in butter before your meal and during your meal is a beautiful thing.
I'm a big fan of a late night taco seed drive through, order some tortillas and some queso.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Shannon, I don't know if we were talking, hopefully you weren't watching too much what I was doing when you and I ate at Chewy's a number of weeks ago, but at Chewy's, they've got not only flour, but outstanding corn tortillas. The corn tortillas at Chewy's, they're almost a little sweet. And so what I do, I get that classic Tex-Mex enchilada plate, which I got when you and I had lunch. And it's got this, like this brown sauce that is spectacularly delicious. So I get the tortillas and I'm like sopping up the enchilada sauce with the tortillas. It's heavenly, absolutely heavenly.
We've got a Cabo Bob's here in Austin. There's a couple of them, and it's fantastic. And they have regular flour tortillas. They have cheddar tortillas. They've got cilantro tortillas, and then they have like a chili tortilla. Like I go in and beef or chicken's one thing, but having me have to decide on one tortilla, it's insane. I go there so much. I'm like, I need all of them at the same time. They're so delicious.
That is so cool. It's so weird. For the longest time, I was just, give me flour tortillas because it's what I grew up with. Flour. I'm not going to have a corn tortilla. Corn tortillas are very underrated. Corn tortillas,
especially if they're made well.
Yes, and when you order street tacos, and man, I am a big fan of the corn tortilla. So there's that. Sorry to bring up that ugly story, but it's kind of a big deal. It's one of the lead stories. You can read more about it at TMZSports.com, and there is video. And I wonder what happens. Here this guy, this coach, this Coronado High School coach, you won the championship. You won the state championship. You're the coach. Obviously, you're a good coach, but now you've got this ugly stain on your resume. I wonder where that guy surfaces again. I mean, I would imagine somebody hires him at a smaller high school somewhere. And he does, even though this is ridiculous and egregious, everybody deserves a second chance most of the time, unless you really cross the line.
Art Briles can keep getting jobs.
Oh, man. Yeah. Good point. Right. Good. That is a great answer to almost anybody asking for a second chance.
Art
It's like,
Briles can get one.
Art Briles gets second chances. This guy should too. All right, coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown is just minutes away. That is coming up in the very next segment, along with sports history, sports birthdays, and yes, we're giving away those big concert tickets in the 8 o'clock hour when Tanner Carlson joins us. That would be the Coheed and Cambria tickets, along with the used Meet Me at the Altar phone number you'll need. And that's less than an hour now. 800-707-9760. Dave Ayler is your soundscape stylist. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. I'm Chris. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Thursday. We're with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. All right. Manuel Gonzalez, Ralph Balderas, Clint Proctor, Jason Paniagua. Welcome in. Nice. Foam Foot 420. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Very nice. Manuel Gonzalez, I like that. You say maybe that coach should get a job at a predominantly Hispanic school so he could learn a thing or two about our culture. Amen. There you go. Yeah, dude has some learning to do. All right. David Munoz wants me to do 3 more R&R Auto Glass commercials. So I'm going to bang those out real quick. They're 30 seconds each if I don't screw them up. And I do tend to screw them up. Not just R&R. I just, any commercial, it's hard for me to just nail it on the first take. Thank God. Thank God for multiple takes. HEB butter-flavored tortillas, says Ralph Balderas. Haven't seen jalapeno flavored in a while. Clint Proctor says tortillas should only be thrown at Tech football games. There you go. And that could be a defense among the racist kids at Coronado High School. Hey, Texas Tech. We were just following in the tradition of Texas Tech. Yeah, right, kid. Okay. All right, I'm going to bang out R&R Auto Glass, I think. Clear my throat, which is a little scratchy this morning. Hey, Chris here for R&R Auto Glass. Took my car in there the other day. Yep, they did what I told you they'd do. They were fast. They were very, very reasonable, and they did a spectacular job. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle, plus window regulators, onboard camera calibration, all with a lifetime warranty, military UTSA and senior discounts. Ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money. All the information on the website, rnrautoglass.com, R&R Auto Glass. That's 1. I need 2 more. I'm looking at the clock so that I try to get these at 30 seconds. I'm going to go in about 15 seconds. Five seconds. Chris here for the great folks at R&R Auto Glass. Took my car in there the other day. They did a great job. In and out, great price. That's what they do, all with a lifetime warranty. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle, plus window regulators, camera calibration. They do it all. Military UTSA senior discount. Ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money off the already reasonable price. All the information at the website, rnrautoglass.com, R&R Auto Glass. Una más. It's hard to do a 30-second spot. I think every radio spot should be 60 seconds or 7 minutes. It would be easier for me to do these because there's so much to say. Got to get it down to 30. That's not easy. Here we go. Chris here for R&R Auto Glass. I know firsthand. I go there. I was just in there a couple of weeks ago. They did my car fast. They did a fantastic job with the great price and the lifetime warranty. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle, window regulators, camera calibration. They do it all. Military, UTSA senior discounts. Ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money off the already very reasonable pricing. Check out the website. All the info there. rnrautoglass.com. R&R Auto Glass. Woo! 3 of them. Nobody got hurt. All right. Come on. This computer likes to mess with me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on. Here we come. Woo! 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 Thank you, Ralph. Dean Stone, good morning. Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney, the man making the show go, your soundscape stylist. Super Dave Ayler on a plain shirt Thursday. Dave wearing the plain shirt. I'm wearing the plain shirt, but not Shannon. She's got, and you can see her on the video, she's got the tie-dyed burnt orange. And you told the people, Shannon, on the video feed chat that you got that at the University Co-op.
Yeah, I know tie-dye's coming back, so maybe people thought that I had recently purchased this attire, but it is from like early 2000s Co-op.
Tie-dye's coming back. Did it ever go away?
Well, like the fad of
Yeah.
I think COVID, because people were at home, people got really into tie-dyeing their own stuff.
Yeah.
And that has essentially brought it back. It's like you think of the Mambasita outfits, right? That were sent to a lot of influencers and basketball players that they were wearing at the end of the NBA season. Those were tie-dye.
Yes.
Like white with like light pink tie-dye around them. That kind of stuff is in right now, where it's just like full tie-dye outfit.
Well, and
this one has a tie-dye longhorn on it.
For my stoner friends, the tie-dyes never went out of style. They've just been wearing it since the 1960s.
They just live in a tie-dye world.
That is true. Coming up, as we mentioned, speaking of music, your chance to win tickets to see Coheed and Cambria at the Circuit of the Americas, September 4th. Also on that bill, The Used and Meet Me at the Altar. We will do that in the 8 o'clock hour. We tend to do that about 8:20, just let you know, so we don't hide that from you. Don't make you work for it that hard. The phone number, 800-707-9760. That's the same number you can use if at any time you want to jump on the phone lines with us. Luisa Alanis on Facebook Live saying, love that shirt, Shannon. Very, very cool. Let's see. Tanner Carlson, our good friend and Dallas Cowboys freak, going to join us just after 8 o'clock. I would imagine some Cowboys and some NFL talk will ensue at that point as well. Shannon's Salty Shakedown is moments away, so fasten your seatbelts, especially if you're in a vehicle, both hands on the wheel when that comes up in just a few moments. Before that, sports birthdays, and this day, June 24th, in sports history. On this day, June 24th, 1922, the charter NFL club, the Chicago Staleys, were renamed the Chicago Bears by their founder, owner, and head coach, George Halas. Man, George Halas was a force in the NFL for decades and decades and decades. On this day in 1983, Don Sutton of the LA Dodgers becomes the 8th pitcher in baseball history to strike out 3,000 batters. On this day in 1992, Major League Baseball Commissioner Fay Vincent permanently bans pitcher Steve Howe from baseball. I've talked about Steve Howe before, multiple drug suspensions in baseball. San Francisco Giants played cocaine by Eric Clapton when he walked onto the field out of the bullpen once. It was ugly. Steve Howe, the late Steve Howe, had a tortured life, and this was not a good day for him in 1992. And finally, also in 1992, the very same day that Steve Howe was banned from baseball, the Orlando Magic had the first pick in the NBA draft. And with that first pick in the 1992 NBA draft, they chose LSU center and former Cole High School center in San Antonio, Texas, Shaquille O'Neal. And they were unable to keep him in Orlando. New Orleans, let's see if you can keep Zion Williamson. Sometimes it ain't that easy. That's sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1895, legendary American boxer, world heavyweight champion from 1919 to 1926, Jack Dempsey was born in Manassas, Colorado in 1895. He died in 1983. This is a cool one. Born on this day in 1901, he was not a player, but he was a basketball promoter, Chuck Taylor. Do you own some Chuck Taylors? I do. Chuck Taylor was born June 24th, 1901. The Converse All-Star Chuck Taylor basketball shoes have become legendary. He was born in Azalea, Indiana. Chuck Taylor died in 1969. Born on this day in 1931, American golfer Billy Casper. He won the U.S. Open in 1959 and 1966. He won the Masters in 1970. Billy Casper was born in San Diego, California. He died in 2015. And finally, born on this day in 1987, legendary Argentine soccer player Lionel Messi. Messi, born this day in 1987, 6 FIFA championships, 6 European golden shoes, 10 La Liga championships, 4 UEFA Champions League championships, 6 Copas del Rey championships with FC Barcelona. Messi's pretty good. He was born in Rosario, Argentina on this day in 1987. There you have it, today's sports birthdays and sports history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for a Thursday, both hands on the wheel, take a deep breath, chant your mantra if necessary. Here it is, your Salty Shakedown.
All right. On Tuesday, I was watching Texas baseball play Tennessee in the College World Series and otherwise minding my own business. Looking at Twitter occasionally to see what the folks in the Twitter world were saying about the game. And up in front of me pops a video of Jameis Winston working out. I wasn't expecting it. And honestly, I feel like I should have been warned because it was one of the more ridiculous workout videos I have ever seen. Chris, I don't know if you saw it, but specifically, Jameis Winston was holding the ball in his hand, moving around in some sort of imaginary pocket. Looked like he was working out in someone's front yard, like a random front yard. There was a kid standing in the back. There's a guy who's holding some pads that he's knocking Winston as he's moving around. There's some training dummies that he's moving in and out of. And I thought, that's great. I know in 2017 you fumbled 15 times and in 2019 you fumbled 12 times, but aren't you also known for your interceptions? So where's the work on that? I also, when I see those things, I don't know how much they actually translate to the field. And then the other thing I thought was, sir, I don't think you've been given the keys yet, right? Like, if anything, you're the valet. You could be handing off those keys at any moment. I don't know if you're getting in the car to take it to the back or if you're going to drive off in it. I applaud you for putting in work in the off season, something Ben Simmons should take note of. But I just don't know yet if he is that guy for the Saints. And after seeing this video, I still don't know that because, as you know, he didn't drop the ball. Kudos to you. But he looks like, you look at his face throughout this video, because that's all I could see after a while was how hard he looked like he was working, just from his facial expressions that this guy was making. But it almost feels like the Saints are in a situation where if he goes out there and he fumbles or he throws too many interceptions, then he's done and that's it. So I get that you're trying to prove that you're working in social media and whatever, but it just felt different from, you know, when we see videos of Patrick Mahomes working out or whatever, these guys that already know their position and that we know their position. Because I look at this, I'm like, what you doing? You just hanging out? This is what you do on a Tuesday afternoon. Have you seen the video, Chris?
I have not seen the video. It does not sound promising from your description.
It will make or ruin your day. But for a guy, again, who just doesn't have the keys yet to the appropriately named Mercedes, isn't it Mercedes Dome? Mercedes-Benz Superdome. You know, dude, I just don't see it for you. And I don't know that this video proves anything to say, yes, he will never fumble another football ever again. But good for you, Jameis Winston, for actually working out, unlike RG3, who just posted a random video of his wife the other day. That is a whole other topic to get into perhaps later in today's show. All right, I did preview earlier that we did have some football news from across football. And I want to start off with Tottenham fans. Sir, you know that they are the Spurs.
Yes.
You've got to by now, because we looked up many times to see Spurs trending, and we think it's San Antonio news. It is not.
I have clicked so many times on Spurs trending, and
they get to every single time.
Yeah.
Well, they're trending once again, this time in relation to the NFL. The NFL will play 2 games this October. October 10th, Falcons versus the Jets. October 17th, Jaguars versus the Dolphins in the Tottenham Spurs Stadium for the NFL's trip across the pond. Now, Tottenham, if you recall, were very briefly part of that Euro Super League. That was a thing for about 48 hours. Fans very upset. They're in search of a new manager. Fans, as we know for soccer, are very, very passionate. Will they now see that the NFL is coming this October and realize, the media attraction and frenzy that is the NFL and the kind of range and exposure they could get should they, I don't know, show up and protest? So that's what they're doing. They're making plans to protest Tottenham Spurs during these NFL games. Now, this is a story that's developing. There's no word on how they plan to protest, but it could be interesting considering NFL's past with protesting. Right, they're not really there for it, and obviously they are not the ones being protested against, but their platform is going to be used as a site for these protests. I don't, I think you said yesterday during Sports History about some awful tragedy that happened post soccer match.
Yeah, in Buenos Aires.
Drunk
Yeah.
soccer fans are not to be messed with. I
No.
don't want that intertwining with the NFL. Do you think, sir, the NFL will step in and attempt to block any sort of protesting happening in or around that stadium when the NFL comes to town?
I think they will. And Shannon, the NFL, one of the prime directives is protect the shield. And the NFL is very image conscious, and the NFL doesn't want any ugliness to be associated, certainly with these European games, or in this case, these games in London. So I would think the NFL is going to do whatever they get with some local security agencies, get with the local government. They're probably going to do whatever they can to try to offset or preempt these protests.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a great look for, that city, right? Because they obviously want more NFL games to be played there. It's a great boost for their economy. Germany currently trying to get NFL games played there once a year. The NFL is also looking to expand, but if that's going to be the welcome and something that starts occurring, right? Because say they do protests and they get a lot of attention that they're seeking, does that become a thing when the NFL comes to town? It's not a precedent you want to be set. And you don't want the NFL then looking elsewhere to play because of something like this happening. So something interesting. Again, those games, October 10th and October 17th, with kind of trash teams, honestly. I mean, the protests could end up being the bigger stories when you've got the Falcons playing the Jets and the Jaguars playing the Dolphins. But who knows?
Sunshine.
Keeping it with soccer overseas, I did not realize that in 2020, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, I think is how you say his name. He's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Ryan Reynolds, of course, Deadpool and lots of other blockbuster hits. They took ownership of a team over there, Wrexham AFC, a team previously owned by fans who then voted that said, yes, they should be the owners. They are a fifth tier team in the football league over there. They're actually the third oldest club on the planet.
Whoa.
But it's real life Ted Lasso. These two guys now own a team, and they're going to have a 2-season documentary called Welcome to Wrexham that's going to air on FX. I'm not exactly sure of the start date. I've been trying to find one for you, but I don't have it quite yet. But how crazy is this? I've been telling you about Ted Lasso on Apple Plus, right? The story of a football coach in America turned football coach over in Europe, taking on a team and a sport that he really doesn't have any association with other than football. And it's a fantastic show. Season 2 is coming out. People have really enjoyed it. But this is now real life Ted Lasso. And they're not even coaches. They are actors and celebrities with a lot of money who bought a team. Chris, is this a fantastic idea? Are they just using it to create a show? Because apparently the idea for the show happened way in advance prior to the purchasing of this team.
Wow. So it could have been, that could be the reason for this. And for the very reason you mentioned Ted Lasso and the very, very, the level of success that Ted Lasso is enjoying on Apple TV Plus, that makes this even more of a possible hit for FX. So probably a very, very good idea if it's produced well, if it's entertaining and funny and compelling.
They're trying to tell a story of worst to first, almost in kind of seems. I really love on Netflix the Last Chance Use. I know that's more about the kids and their situations and what they go through, but I kind of feel like if it's a worst to first storyline, it'll be similar in that. I'm excited to see what they do with this. I'm hoping it actually turns out to be a great thing for this club and that they do see some signs of improvement as far as their play and their standings. But what a crazy thing. Real life Ted Lasso with Ryan Reynolds of all people. Again, that's Welcome to Wrexham on FX, coming soon to your TVs. Be on the lookout for it. That's it, today's Salty Shakedown.
Another outstanding Salty Shakedown. And Shannon, we do have a few minutes here before the top of the hour. You did reference this in your Salty Shakedown. Not only the Jameis Winston workout video, but you mentioned RG3, Robert Griffin III, apparently has released a video of his very own that you were not exactly enamored with.
I'm still like searching for the context of why this came out. He posted a video of his wife doing squats with a weight, weight on her. And
Okay.
First of all, she's not doing them right. Like that's not the form. That's so bad for your back. Her back is almost parallel to the ground while she's doing these squats.
Okay.
And apparently race played a part where people were giving him a hard time about having a white wife. I don't know. It was very strange. But in the process of this video, there's also a video in the corner of the video of Robert Griffin giving her thirsty looks, I guess is what you could say.
Thirsty looks.
Like when someone's thirsty.
Okay.
Not in the Thirsty Thursday sense, but in the other sense.
Gotcha. While she's doing squats.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's been in the news recently for him potentially becoming a broadcaster. So I see him trending and I'm like, this is it. Where we got breaking news. Where's he going to go? And then it's like James Woods. I see a video that I did not need my eyeballs to see in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, and first of all, as you mentioned, her doing squats with bad form, that if someone else does them, that could be dangerous to them. Not a good look. But secondly, and if I'm a network, and apparently, as we talked about, RG3's auditions apparently went well. People liked his auditions. But if you're a network and he's putting these weird things on social media, and if in one of them he's, kind of leering at his woman, I don't know. I mean, do you want to invest multi-million dollars in this guy and make him the face of your sports panel show? I'm not so sure.
ESPN fired Paul Pierce over those Instagram Live videos.
Yeah.
And I think the purpose of the video was to show off her assets, if you know what I'm saying.
And I did see, and I didn't click on it, but you're right. I did see a thing about race, about, just because I saw some line from him, just because you marry someone outside of your race doesn't mean, you're down on your, it was something weird. It's like, well, that if you love each other, that goes without saying, Robert. Why? Yeah. I mean, you're not telling us anything new there. Why do you have to make that proclamation?
I don't know. Listen, the dude jumped from his first wife to his second wife while still married to his first wife. So, I don't know. He can talk football all day, but when it comes to relationships, you're not that guy. You're not that guy, bro. You're not that guy.
Robert Griffin III. We will see where he surfaces. Very, very interesting and a very frightening video. Coming up, our good friend Tanner Carlson going to come into the studio. We like talking NFL football, Dallas Cowboys, and more with Tanner Carlson. Also check his Tim Tebow angst. I'm a little hypocritical with his Tim Tebow angst because obviously I've got Kawhi Leonard angst, so I kind of get it. Although I think I'm more justified in my Kawhi Leonard angst. Also, in the very next segment, the big concert ticket giveaway. Shannon will determine what caller in the very next segment will win the Coheed and Cambria tickets. They are coming to Circuit of the Americas on September 4th. Also on the bill, The Used and Meet Me at the Altar, which is what Robert Griffin III said to his first and second wives, only at different times. So, and apparently he said it to his second wife while married to his first wife, which is a little weird. So there's
I don't know if they got married. They were just together.
Oh, okay. So there's that. All right. All that coming your way. Yes. After a sports update, you're listening to the Chris Duel Show. Woo. Woo. Okay. I got to finish editing. Did I get that to 30 seconds? I did. Now. Let's see. 4th is a Monday. So, I see what I did. Okay, so I already did that. So I did one. I need 2 more. Okay. I think before I do that, I'm going to get Tanner the tripod. Longhorns are on Fox 29. David Pierce, Longhorns baseball coach, 6 o'clock this evening. Longhorns versus Virginia. Hopefully, the Longhorns redeem themselves, get another shot at Mississippi State. Take that, Dak Prescott. Wonder if Dak's going to show up like Peyton showed up for Tennessee. I have the official Tanner Carlson tripod in place. now back to this. Let's see here. Two, one, two. Ah! Come on. Close enough.
That's what they do, all with a lifetime warranty. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle, plus window regulators, camera calibration. They do it all. Military UTSA senior discount. Ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money on the already reasonable price. All the information at the website, rnrautoglass.com. RNR Autoglass.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Tanner Carlson. What's new with you?
Oh, not much. Not much. Ugh. So what's on the brain today?
Maybe the Brady DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson, Aaron Rodgers match. You have any thoughts on that? Brady put out some video yesterday.
Yeah, his putting. It's about as realistic of it as his.
Now, how'd they do that though?
The moon.
How'd they? I mean,
Have you seen that video of him throwing football to the moon?
I haven't seen that, but I saw all the putts going in one after another. I couldn't see the edits. I couldn't see the.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that it's edited, but he did a really good job.
Yeah.
With the video. But yeah, he's got a video of him on the beach, and it's like working out of. He's like drinking out of a TV12 like thermos or something like that, and he's like, I'm an old head or something like that, and then he like throws it, and it reaches, it goes all the way to the moon, like blows up the moon.
Anything? You have anything on your radar?
We can talk a little bit of Cowboys. In terms of what's their quarterback situation outside of Dak.
You're a Garrett Gilbert believer.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to say a believer. He's the best of what we've got.
I'm a little concerned.
I'm curious to see if they're not going to bring somebody in, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in terms of.
Okay.
Should they bring somebody else in? Which I think yes. As much competition as you can give, the better. We can always throw down on some. Well, I guess the big debate going on Twitter that I've seen, at least on Dallas Twitter, is did Atlanta actually win the Luka Trae Young trade with him being in the Western
that's
Conference Finals?
especially now with Trae in the news. That's a good one. See if you or Shannon have remorse.
Never. Luka forever. I'm a diehard. I'll die with Luka.
What if he becomes the next Steph Curry? Trae Young.
I called him that in college when he was in Oklahoma.
That's a lot now. A lot more people are joining you now.
I mean, I whenever I'll say it on air.
Okay, that's.
But I was a big fan of Trae Young coming out of college. college. I was a big fan, and I wanted Dallas to draft him. So when we drafted him, I was like, oh, cool. And then we traded for some kid out of Slovenia, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Damn, I look good in this shirt.
This Chris Duel Show.
There he is.
Now, Chris Duel.
It is a throwback Thursday. It is June 24th. The weekend has begun. As far as we're concerned, it's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, and this half hour, your chance to win tickets to see Coheed and Cambria, along with The Used and Meet Me at the Altar at Circuit of the Americas on September 4th. We love bringing Mr. Tanner Carlson in. He's got his own sound effect. Tan Man, the Monkey Man, is in studio. And we talked a little bit about this before we came onto the air. Both you and Shannon are Dallas Mavericks fans. And some people wonder if now, some of you wonder if Mark Cuban and by extension, you, Tanner, and Shannon are having some buyer's remorse or trade remorse. Trae Young, who is now the next or the current hot thing in the NBA. You guys had him in Dallas. You could have kept him, but you made a trade to bring Luka Doncic to Dallas, and Trae Young goes to Atlanta. I believe that was on draft night.
Yes, it was.
So,
yep.
Are you sorry now that trade was made?
Can it be a win-win? Can both teams end up winning out of a trade? I mean, that's the thing.
Well, Atlanta might get a championship this year.
Atlanta might get a championship this year, and they're playing very well. And I was a big fan of Trae Young coming out of college. Out of Oklahoma, I said, you know what? He is the closest thing that I've seen in my eyeballs to Steph Curry, and that's the way the league is going. And I once when in 2018, the 2017 whole draft process, watching him in college going into the draft, I said, you know what? The way the NBA is going, he's going to fit. This is the perfect time for him to be coming into the NBA. And whenever Dallas was struggling that year, I said, tank for Trae. That was my big thing. I wanted Trae Young, and I said, take him with whatever pick you end up having, take him. And they did. And then they ended up trading for some kid out of Slovenia, some white kid that I was like, oh, great. This is going to really bite us in the butt. And I love Luka. I'm a diehard Luka fan. I will never say I regret having Luka on the team. I'm a big fan of Trae. I love what he's doing. But no, I would honestly, if you made me pick between the two, knowing what I know now, I would say Luka Doncic over Trae Young.
Shannon?
Yeah, I agree. I think you also have to think of the situations of the teams. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, game 7, Trae Young was not up to the Trae Young superstar standard that we've come to know, but he had the cast around him to help them get that win and move on in the playoffs. Whereas right now, that's what's lacking in Dallas, right? Because Luka is Mr. MVP, which I think one day he will be getting sooner rather than later, and I think he'll get one before Trae Young even starts getting the MVP chance from people other than Hawks fans.
Right.
He just needs that supporting cast around him. Now, ironically, he needs a guy like Trae Young, right? They need a decent shooter and a decent ball handler. So hopefully they can get one soon to help us out and to keep us in the playoffs and not have us be on the outside looking in. But I very much agree that it's a win-win for both sides here.
And you got to throw in, and I know he's not some big-time player, but, I mean, he was a top 10 pick for the Atlanta Hawks. The following draft, Dallas gave a first-round pick to Atlanta along in that trade, and they got Cam Reddish out of Duke that following year. And he's a good role player. He's averaging 10 points per game. So, I mean, you have to throw that in there in terms of the trade, who won the trade. But like Shannon and I agree. I don't think in this case there is a clear-cut loser, and I don't think there's a clear-cut winner. I mean, there are some trades where you're like, yeah, the Dallas Cowboy Herschel Walker trade. Someone got screwed out of that one, you know. So yeah, I mean, someone wins and someone loses, but I think this trade is as close to a win-win as you're going to get.
Now, one of the reasons that Steph Curry over the years has kind of rubbed me the wrong way is he's a hot dog. I mean, chewing on the mouthpiece. Sometimes he would I remember a playoff game.
Is that an old head phrase? Is that a boomer phrase that we don't know?
Maybe it is. He's a hot dog. He's I remember once, and I thought Serge Ibaka was going to kill him. They were playing the Oklahoma City Thunder when Ibaka was with the Thunder, and Steph jacked up a three-point shot, and before it even made its arc in the sky in the arena, he turns to Serge Ibaka and stares him down and starts nodding, and of course the ball goes choing, swish. And I thought Ibaka's just going to throw him to the ground because he's mocking him. He's Trae Young last night. We're seeing the little shoulder shimmy, and he's a little cocky. Might he be too cocky?
He has that Mamba mentality, and I love it. You know, growing up, it used to rub me the wrong way because I'd never seen a player like Kobe before. I never seen a guy. You know, you're typically used to the MJs who are. I mean, he'll do the shrug, he'll do the tongue out. You know, that was about as showboaty as the 90s and MJ got. Kobe was just the villain, and he knew he was the villain, and he took that villain role on. And I think you're seeing more players taking on that role and being okay with it. Trae Young getting bumped by the New York Knicks after the win in the Garden, and he gets bumped and he just shrugs it off. He's doing his shoulder thing. He's doing his shrug. I kind of love it. I really do. I kind of like that fire. And I think if you are the underdog, you have to have that mentality because you go player per player on these rosters between the Bucks and the Hawks. There's not a chance Atlanta should be in this series. Player to player on paper, the Bucks have them beat, no doubt. And I think you need that mentality that Trae has to get that edge over a better papered team.
Well, it's so strange that we refer to them as villains because they end up being the most marketable and generally well-liked and well-talked about athletes. But the second they take the court and they do that move or like that disrespectful alley-oop pass Trae had last night, right? Where like the villain, he's off. What is he doing? But that's what they are, and you're right. It's fantastic.
And I did see, it's funny, Tanner, you bring up Kobe. I saw overnight on Twitter a photo of a young Trae Young standing next to Kobe. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I would imagine you look at his game and you look at his attitude. I would imagine Trae Young has been very influenced by Kobe Bryant throughout his life.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, you can kind of see there are certain players where you can kind of tell where they kind of, imitated their game from, and he's got obviously a ton of Steph Curry in his game. Obviously that's his skill set, that's his size. But when you look at some of these players, you see some of these players imitate attitudes from other guys. Sometimes you get a guy with KG attitude. You get a Garnett guy out there. Sometimes you get a really quiet guy who you never hear of, and he's just kind of, by the wayside. That's kind of your Tim Duncan guy. But yeah, I think Trae Young and the mentality that he has, I'm not saying skill set. I'm not saying he's going to have as decorated of a career as Kobe, but just mentality wise, that killer attitude, that I'm going for the throw every single play mentality. I think you have to have that, especially if you're going to overcome these super teams and all these rosters being put together and just superstar after superstar each and every round. You got to have that, it's me against the world, attitude if you're going to be successful with the team that he has.
And Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks now 3 wins away from the NBA Finals, which would be crazy.
You could flip that around to the other conference and go to the Western Conference and say the exact same thing about the Phoenix Suns right now.
Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. I mean, that could be the match. It could be Donovan Mitchell versus Trae Young.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. Right. Donovan Mitchell with the Utah Jazz. Devin Booker. Exactly. Wonder how his nose is doing after the other night. Did you see his nose get all
I'm
sideways?
I'm so excited for the Rip Hamilton nose mask tonight.
Are we going to get a mask?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for the mask. He's wearing one.
I wonder if there's a prop bet in Vegas. Is he going to wear the nose mask?
And if he does, I'm so excited.
Did someone wear a black mask recently and then they ruled it that they couldn't, it had to be clear?
Really?
Oh, really? I know LeBron had the carbon fiber black Batman mask on.
Okay.
I like it.
That's allowed. I mean, I'm up for just go purple. Go Suns.
Oh
Woo!
yeah,
Put some graphics on it.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic.
Something
He could put CP3 on his mask, like an ode to Chris Paul,
who's going to play tonight. Though we're hearing he's going to play tonight.
He is going to play. I thought he was out for tonight. All right.
Well, there's CP3 and his State Farm cousin.
Oh yeah, Cliff Paul. Yeah, put Cliff Paul on there with the mustache. Yeah,
very nice. We love talking Dallas Cowboys with you, Tanner Carlson in studio. Tanner, since you're here, and again before we went to air, you have on this radio station said that you kind of like Garrett Gilbert. You think he's got potential as a backup quarterback to Dak Prescott. Currently, your backups at Cowboy quarterback, Garrett Gilbert, Cooper Rush still in the mix, and the incomparable Ben DiNucci, who watered our eyes last season as a rookie. Your thoughts on the Cowboys' current status at backup quarterback?
You know, it can be better. Let's be real. It can be better. And I don't think it's a position that the front office or the coaching staff should take lightly and say, hey, the three guys that are competing for that backup job are the three guys that we want. You know, I think if there's a better option out there, or if there is some kind of, I don't know, crazy cut, say, I don't know, some guy in training camp kind of doesn't fit where, and they want to go in a different direction, and there's a veteran guy that's available later on in training camp, I think you have to work him out. I think you have to give him a shot, because after what we saw last year and the struggles that we had with a veteran experienced backup, you throw someone who has only combined all of those players, all three of those guys have combined 2 NFL starts in their career.
Yeah.
And that's Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert last year for the Dallas Cowboys. So you got to get a little more experience, I think, at that position. And we saw last year, if Dak goes down, this team is completely done for. And I'm not saying that signing of Joe Flacco, say he doesn't make it in Philly, you know, and he gets cut midway through training camp and he becomes available. I'm not saying Joe Flacco will be that guy who's like, all right, cool. But Chicago has an interesting, you know, quarterback dilemma.
True.
They have 3 guys there that, including Andy Dalton, that are going to be fighting for that starting position. And if one of those 3 guys end up not making it all the way through camp, try him out.
I go back to 2 years ago when Drew Brees went down for, I think, 3 games for the Saints.
It was like 3 or 4.
And they were playing very, very, and Teddy Bridgewater came in, who was a multi-game, multi-year starting quarterback, obviously, previously for the Minnesota Vikings before his injury. And I think there's something to be said for a veteran quarterback, because as you said on Tuesday, when Ben DiNucci was in there, all the other defense had to do was, all right, let's take away Zeke.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we key on Zeke and make Ben DiNucci beat us, because he's not going to beat us. So let's make that quarterback, whether it's DiNucci, Garrett Gilbert, or Cooper Rush, beat us. And those guys are probably not going to beat us if you're the opposing defense.
No, you're 100% right. And so I think if there is another option out there, and I know during rookie mini camps and OTAs, they brought in, I think, Brett Hundley, I believe, or somebody, Deshaun Kaiser, one of those guys that was recently drafted fairly high and didn't really pan out. And they obviously haven't signed them. So that's probably not going to be an option in the future, but at least you're keeping you're kind of staying on your toes a little bit when it comes to backup position, because I think with Dak's injury now, you just don't know. Beforehand, he was always healthy. He was 100% healthy.
Yeah.
Never missed a game prior to last season. But now, you know, you just, I don't think you can go into the season with Garrett Gilbert, your primary guy, saying, you know what, if Dak goes down, I feel confident with him.
Where is the chosen Rosen these days? Josh Rosen.
No,
where is he? No, but see, I would take him right now over Gilbert, Rush, or DiNucci. And granted, Josh Rosen is not that special, but I think he's got a better skill set than any of these 3 guys, and a potential upside if he gets it together.
Yeah,
I don't want
know.
that ego in a Cowboys helmet.
And he did go to UCLA, so I automatically hate him. Although Troy Aikman went to UCLA, I'm willing to forgive if you're
Troy. Between all of us, Troy went to Oklahoma and UCLA, so we shouldn't really ever like him.
2 reasons I should hate him, but I don't. I love him.
I love the guy.
I love him. All right. You will love concert tickets if you win. We're going to take a quick time out here to give away Coheed and Cambria concert tickets, along with the used and Meet Me at the Altar at Circuit of the Americas on September 4th. Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, what number phone caller do you want to win?
Caller 6 today to 1-800-707-9760. Going to see Coheed and Cambria at Germania Insurance Amphitheater this September in Austin. One of Austin's favorite music venues. 1-800-707-9760. Caller number 6.
Tanner, another thing we talked to you a lot about is golf, and we've got golf and football colliding as Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson will take on Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau. What a pairing that is, too. Yeah. Two guys with very strange personas teaming up together, Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau. This is coming up July 6th. This is not that far away.
Yeah, I feel like Rodgers is at least very well respected around his respective sport. I don't know if DeChambeau has that same, reaction with his.
You drafted him. You drafted him less than a week ago.
I did draft him less than a week ago,
or 1 week ago.
And
yeah.
He can be very exciting, and I can understand the market value in Bryson DeChambeau for the PGA. So, we were talking about those videos that Tom Brady just recently posted a video of him sinking 3 or 4 putts. What was it? 4?
3 putts, one for every other golfer in that foursome. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's sunk 3 putts from probably 12 feet, 13, 15 feet away.
Yeah.
It was a decent
and he goes,
putt.
Bryson, this one's for you. And then, Phil, this one's for you. Aaron, this one's for. And I looked at that video and I know it was fake somehow, but I could not find the edit. I could not find the fakery.
Right. I think he has a Marvel editor. He has some kind of high studio production team,
You saw the beach video too.
Right. Okay. That's what I was telling Chris off air. I said, there's a beach video where he's throwing it at, and it just, it's a good edit, and he just throws the football straight to the moon. So, it blows up the moon like it's the Death Star or something. So, he's got movie quality edits in terms of his videos and TikToks. And as someone who has given Brady as hard of a time as I have, I love Florida Brady. I think he's
Thank you.
I don't like him on the field, and I hope Tampa Bay sucks this year, especially week 1. I hope they're terrible. But I think, Tom Brady, the person on social media, is way better as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer than he ever was as a New England Patriot.
He's fun. He's having fun.
He's showing, and he's kind of showing his lame dad side as well. You know, and I think that's very relatable to a lot of people.
Well, and Shannon, you were telling me, and maybe we'll get to the audio in the next segment if we have it. But you were showing me something he did with James Corden very, very recently as well. Tom Brady.
Yeah, we got a couple clips we can get to in the next segment. But he was on the Late Late Show last night, kind of doing almost a carpool karaoke, except they were playing golf. And
a golf course karaoke.
Interesting things we learned was that Tom Brady, and you mentioned his dad's side, he's a big fan of show tunes. He loves Hamilton.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
He said that when he was growing up, he would be in the car with his dad. And his dad, had the CDs, and his dad would just have all these show tune CDs. And he was like, when I get older, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
And now he's that guy.
Yeah.
And he was belting out Hamilton during the skit.
One of his celebrations needs to be Spirit Fingers or something. He needs to really embrace the show tunes thing.
That would be great.
And really show off this Spirit Fingers or something. And who do y'all think that he called an MF? What quarterback do you think?
I originally thought Garoppolo, but I've seen some people trying to knock that down now. Now we're hearing it might be Chicago.
Okay, so that they were kind of going with Trubisky or Foles.
Now I was listening to Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick originally thought Garoppolo, but they went through why it might not be, and they think it was Trubisky.
Chicago would make sense. I was the first person I thought in my head was Kirk Cousins, and I have no idea. There's no reason to throw Kirk Cousins under the bus like that. But
there are some.
But that was the very first person that whenever I saw the clip, I said I don't know why, but Kirk Cousins was the first thing that popped in my head, and there's absolutely no explanation, and I have no evidence to back up my claim, but I said Kirk Cousins was the first thing off my head. But Chicago makes way more sense. Or, maybe, I guess they went another direction, but I was going to say the Rams with Jared Goff, but I guess they just traded but they did have Goff last season. So I guess it,
And that LeBron James HBO show where Brady said that, and we saw just a quick edit, that drops this weekend, I think. So
I believe so.
We will find out this weekend.
Well, and there's a story going around this morning that he was considering the Saints, and the Saints had a little bit of interest in bringing him in. And I don't know where they were with Drew Brees at that moment, but if we wanted to stir the pot.
Wow. Well, and somebody had the theory,
Surely.
Shannon, it might have been you, that the edit might have even been so bizarre that he said he's first talking football and then he's talking about like a barber or something. And,
yeah.
and so we're going to find out it's because I can't
imagine it being the Saints because they had that great moment with Breeze's kids at the end of the game, and they seem like they have a great father relationship, like the old dudes in the league still. So,
but even if it's Trubisky or Garoppolo, for him to trash another starting quarterback
surprise me
in the NFL, it surprises me.
I think you realize how competitive this dude is,
but he doesn't say that though. But he does. He's not going to call another quarterback and say.
He doesn't say it. He just prints it on T-shirts and sells them.
He doesn't. Yeah, he didn't say it at New England because they were so locked down on their PR and the way they portrayed themselves to the media. But now that he's kind of got free reign to kind of do what he wants, I think we're seeing so much of a different side of Brady that nothing really surprises me all that much. I think he's got a foul mouth. I think he's all kind of trailer trash in terms of like just dudes talking dudes. I think locker room talk. I think he's probably the best locker room guy in terms of just crazy story. He's been in the league for so long. He's probably got stories out the butt that are just raunchy and gross and something you don't even want to hear. But I bet Brady's got the best stories on any NFL team.
We need the last dance Tom Brady.
Oh, we need a last dance Tom Brady. Because we learned some things about Jordan.
We sure did.
Nobody thought Jordan was that guy.
Yeah.
And I think when you're that competitive and you're that great and you refuse to lose, you have to have something ticks differently than anybody else on the planet. And I think he's got that, and he just like zeroes in on his target and he goes for the kill every time.
Totally agree. Tanner Carlson, a great follow on Twitter at Tanner Carlson 20. Real quick, Longhorns win today over Virginia tonight.
Oh yeah. I was rooting for Mississippi State to lose that game. I wanted Mississippi State, and I want a rematch with Mississippi State again. So now we'll have to beat them twice hopefully after tonight. But yeah, I got a Longhorns win tonight.
Beautiful. Hopefully we get Mississippi State tomorrow. Tanner at Tanner Carlson 20 on Twitter. Coming up, we will find out who won the tickets to see Coheed and Cambria. And how about little Tom Brady, James Corden audio coming your way as well. He is Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. I'm Chris. Till 9, it's the Chris Duel Show. Outstanding, sir. This is Thursday. This week has been a little. This one went by quick for me too. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I'll see you next.
Yeah, Because I said less than a week ago you picked DeShanton. Then I thought, wait a minute, that was 1 week ago. That was on a Thursday. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. All right, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right. John, you gave me a Roger Staubach message apparently on Facebook. I got to finish editing. Very cool. Cool photo. Thank you, John. I've got to edit one more. Let's see, is it there? I think I got it. Do I have it? I think I do.
They did a great job. In and out, great price. That's what they do. All with a lifetime warranty. They can replace any piece of glass on the vehicle. Plus, no regulators, camera calibration. They do it all. Military, UTSA, senior discount. Ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money off the already reasonable price. All the information at the website, rnrautoglass.com. RNR Autoglass. Chris here for the great folks at R&R.
Ah. Yes. How many cuts are there? Okay, thanks.
Chris here for the great folks at
I didn't hear that. Okay, thanks. Shannon would know that. I think Shannon's going to introduce them.
Chris here for R&R Auto Glass. I know firsthand. I go there. I was just in there a couple of weeks ago. They did my car fast. They did a fantastic job with a great price and the lifetime warranty. They can replace any piece of glass on your vehicle, window regulators, camera calibration. They do it all. Military, UTSA senior discounts. Ask them about the Duel deal. Save even more money off the already very reasonable pricing. Check out the website. All the info there. rnrautoglass.com. R&R Auto Glass.
Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Dave Ayler is your soundscape stylist. Dave Ayler just took, I believe, the 6th phone call. By the way, if you didn't win today, you got another shot tomorrow. We'll give away the concert tickets tomorrow as well to see Coheed and Cambria along with The Used and special guest Meet Me at the Altar. That'll be September 4th, Circuit of the Americas. Dave Ayler, who is our winner? Juan Rios. Very cool. Was it Juan's birthday? Anything cool about Juan? Did Juan say Coheed and Cambria is my favorite band ever? I'm so excited. You made my life. No. Yeah. Juan just said, give me the tickets, man. I'm caller 6. There you go. Congratulations, Juan. You're the big winner. Shannon, I was a little proud of Tanner Carlson in here minutes ago, admitting that he doesn't like him on the field, but he kind of likes Tampa Bay Tom Brady better than he liked Patriot Tom Brady, New England Tom Brady. I mean, are you willing? You've been critical. You don't have a lot of love for Tom Brady. I've totally flipped on him. I enjoy him now. I'm a fan now. I used to hate him, but are you willing to admit that you're enjoying his videos to some extent?
I'm on that same wavelength.
Woo!
Because again, when he was in Boston, right, we rarely ever saw the guy except for when he did that little Facebook Tom versus Time, and just the title itself felt arrogant and like a slap in the face to others. And now he's just everywhere. In the lead up to this golf tournament, he's appearing on The Shop, where he, almost it's like another side of Tom Brady that we haven't seen before. And now we're getting him on a 10+ minute segment with James Corden playing golf, singing show tunes, and being goofy. It's great. You love to see it.
And it's going to be fascinating this weekend. And I think it drops Friday night. It could be Saturday, but I think it's Friday. You mentioned The Shop on HBO and HBO Max with LeBron James, whatever. And if it's true that it wasn't just weird editing, and I still think maybe that's it, which would suck. Either way, it would suck. It sucks if they edited it to manipulate us all week to thinking Tom Brady's calling out another starting quarterback in the NFL. Secondly, if he does call out another starting quarterback in the NFL, I still would think that kind of sucks. Because I think about my frame of reference for great quarterbacks as a Cowboys fan is Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman. And for either one of them in their day to call out another starting quarterback and go, really? You're going to stick with that MFer, instead of me? I don't know. I like Tom, but I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, I don't think we'll hear him say an actual name. But at the same time, maybe we'll get a better idea of who he was possibly thinking about. And also, like you mentioned earlier about the editing, the clip we have drops off after he says the expletive. So we don't know if he goes on to, reveal that he's more joking than anything.
True.
But also it's just interesting to think about what might have been had he not ended up in Tampa.
Yeah.
Because obviously they went on to win a Super Bowl. And, who's to say he would win one if he went anywhere else?
And I'm hearing now that Chicago, the Bears, were in the mix. And you think about them for a moment. They do have a really good defense. And you just wonder, I mean, it just seems so we're used to the Bears, other than like 1985, not really being, a contender for the Super Bowl. But I can't even picture Tom Brady in a Chicago Bears uniform. It just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, no. And I do like the vision of him going from a place like Boston and so cold and rigid to Tampa, where he's now partying on boats with his avocado tequila. But that was kind of something that was brought up on his appearance last night with James Corden, where they were in the golf cart chatting away on the way to their next hole. And he said, last time you were on the show, we talked about what Giselle said to you after you won your last Super Bowl of what more do you have to prove? And this was Tom Brady's answer.
I mean, last time you were on the show, you mentioned that you've won the Super Bowl, and Giselle came on the field and said, what more do you have to prove? Which I thought was a really beautiful thing to say. Do you ever think, what more have I got to do in this sport?
It's hard to walk away from something that you still feel like you can do and you want to do. So it's not about proving it to others,
Right.
what you can do. It's more about proving it to yourself. And I still feel like even though I'll be 44 this year, I still have a chance to still, prove it to myself that I can still do it at 44 because I've really worked to a point where I can, still do it at this age.
There's one thing being like really good at something. There's something else of being the greatest of all time. How often do you think about it?
I don't.
Really?
Because I don't.
Never. You never sit and think, what I do, I'm the best.
It's like saying, what do you like better? Steak, fish, chicken? I mean, everything's good. Yeah, you do too. I do. I like steak.
Don't know where Tom was going with the chicken, steak, and fish reference, but
Yeah.
it was interesting to get that take from him. I mean, if anything, I think James was like, how much longer are you going to do this? Because we did hear recently this week when someone asked him about going to 50, he was like, that's too old. But I would think people would argue that the age he is now is maybe a little too old. But he is still winning Super Bowls, and there lies the issue that we all have with Tom Brady.
When he turned 40, I remember specifically, and this is right when I started to say, all right, I'm going to kind of become a closet Tom Brady fan because how deep into his 40s can he do it? But when he turned 40, I remember specifically, he said, I'm going to try to do it till I'm 45. If I'm healthy, I'm going to try to do it until I'm 45. And you just heard him say, I turned 44 this year. So maybe 1 or 2 years left, maybe. But we've seen it, and you saw it with Drew Brees last year. When you lose it as a quarterback or a great high performance athlete in any sport, when you lose it, that drop off is usually pretty quick, and we notice it pretty quickly. So I would say enjoy it while it's continuing at this moment.
Well, and we talked earlier about how he's got the shirts, right, that say the 7 rings, and James had some fun with that. Prior to them getting going, they did some workouts, and James was having a hard time with the Tom Brady warm-up routine, so he invented his own. This is it.
Well, this is your warm-up, and there's a way where you can warm up the body, the mind, and the voice. So what I do is I'll just do like this. I'll just like, I'm the Ariana Grande of the NFL. I'm the Ariana Grande of the NFL.
Beautiful.
For those that aren't sure about the Ariana Grande reference, she has a song entitled 7 Rings. And of course, Tom Brady, now a 7-time Super Bowl winner. And I don't think we get anything of the sort like this with Tom Brady from the Patriots. I don't know that they allow him to go poke, because he's poking fun at himself, right?
Yeah.
I'm the Ariana Grande of the NFL. And then if you were to go, and this video in its entirety is on the Chris Duel Show, a blog page, so you're welcome to go check that out. I think it's worth it. If you've got 10 minutes today, it's pretty funny, and to watch him actually play golf and do these funny exercises with James is great. But again, it just goes, Tampa Tom is a different cat, and I'm okay with it. I'm not liking him as a football player, though.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're willing to accept him as a guy who can entertain you off the field. It's funny, though, and I was thinking about this as you said it, we wouldn't have seen him do this in Boston, in New England, when he was a Patriot, because the Patriots might not allow it. But what strikes me as well, and you look at Bill Belichick, the grumpy coach of the Patriots, who never gave Tom any credit or accolades, really never publicly recognized him as being good. I think about, have you ever had a job you just didn't like the job? It was like, going to work was awful and it was just drudgery. And I think when you have a job you don't really like, or if you're in a situation you're not loving it, I think you're less prone to want to go out and do fun videos, because it's like I know me, I get off work, I go home and I talk to my wife and go, God, I'm really hating this situation. And I think you're less prone to go out and just kick it and have some fun. And I think maybe that's part of it as well. Part of why he wouldn't have done this in New England, because he right. When he got off work after spending 6 hours with Bill Belichick, I just wonder what kind of mood you'd be in.
Yeah, and winning is fun, and they did a lot of winning, but you're right. The environment you're in is very much a part of whether or not the fun factor is a piece of that. And then again, this is all, this little stint was to promote the match that, of course, is coming up July 6th, and he is, of course, partnered with Phil Mickelson. And Phil Mickelson has been in the news a lot, right? Because he's drinking wine out of his championship cup, and it just seems to be everywhere he goes. And so he actually did FaceTime into this little skit, and once again, he's riding in a golf cart, and Tom is asking for some assistance on a shot, and then James posted and said, "Do you just take that trophy wherever you go?" Because once again, Phil Mickelson is riding, and shotgun is his trophy. And I like that both guys at this point in their careers, when they have proven that they are the best of the best at what they do, are able to have some fun with it now.
I really think, since you can't have Tiger, and obviously a year ago Tiger was involved in this exhibition match, since you can't have Tiger, I think the casting, I think it's perfect. Phil Mickelson, the guy who just won a major at 50, paired with Tom Brady, who's known for winning a Super Bowl at his advanced age, versus, and as I mentioned earlier, two guys in their sports who are kind of divas, kind of moody, kind of brooding. Not everybody likes them. Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers. I think it's about as perfect as you could make it, other than having Tiger healthy and able to play in the match.
Yeah, it's kind of this villains versus the chosen ones setup that we got going on. And, we're what? A week and a half out from that?
July 6th.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see Aaron Rodgers golfing with James Corden here soon. That'd be fun.
Well, and that's even weird too. If it's July 5th is a Monday, because you and I have the day after the 4th of July. So July 6th is a Tuesday. I just, in my head, I thought that was going to be a weekend. That's weird. Is that going to be during the day on the 6th? I don't understand doing that on the Tuesday after the 4th. That's a little odd.
And weren't the other ones on Thursdays? Like a holiday, like Thanksgiving or something?
I thought it was, a weekend-ish or a holiday kind of a situation.
I'm not sure if maybe they're trying to work. Like, I wonder, I haven't looked at the NBA's schedule, if there's a potential for a game to be that day or not be that day. And so maybe that's where they are with that. And College
that could
World
be.
Series, because it is an odd scheduling date to choose.
Totally agree. Yeah. We'll have to.
Phil's, I don't know when the Open is. I think it may be 2 weeks or a week and a half later. So maybe that's where it comes in, is Phil and Bryson's PGA schedule.
So I wonder, Shannon, are we going to have like a fantasy draft on Mickelson, Brady, DeChambeau, and Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. I wonder if we do that. Maybe.
It's hard not to pick Brady.
I know. Yeah.
And he did that again on during the show.
But yeah, you would expect DeChambeau to have a better round than Mickelson on most days.
I think DeChambeau is going to have too much fun.
Yeah.
He's going to be focused more on being entertaining, as, what his trash talk or whatever.
Yeah.
Focusing up on the course.
That's a good bet. All right. Our poll question, which I don't even think we brought up earlier, but see, you got to go search for the poll question. We make it difficult on some days. Given Trae Young just going crazy last night, does that make him the MVP of these NBA playoffs so far? We posed the question to you, Shannon, and what do we have as far as a response?
Yeah, Trae Young leading the way, 63%. Donovan Mitchell with 14%, and Giannis with just 18%. Pretty easy so far, I think, to say Trae Young is that guy.
Yeah, the Greek Freak. Here we go again with the Milwaukee Bucks in a hole early in a series. We'll see what they can do in game 2. As we mentioned tonight, game number 3 between the Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers. No Kawhi tonight for the Clippers, but we are hearing that Chris Paul will be playing for the Suns. And Shannon, in your tie-dye, burnt orange University of Texas t-shirt, how do you feel? 6:00 tonight, Longhorns versus Virginia Cavaliers. How do you feel about the College World Series tonight?
I feel fantastic. Let's get it done.
Woo! Yes.
Hook 'em horns.
And will Dak Prescott pull a Peyton Manning and show up Friday night to support his Mississippi State Bulldogs against the Longhorns if that game happens?
I think the last time he showed up to a Mississippi State event was women's college basketball, and I think they lost that one. So
yeah, he may be bad luck.
Maybe he stays home.
Woo. Great job, Shannon. As always, we'll do this in 21 hours.
Let's do it, sir. Looking forward to it.
Yes. Outstanding as always, Mr. Dave Ayler. Thank you, sir. Are you here tomorrow? Oh, good. So, we're not saying goodbye. We're saying see you in 21 hours. Have yourself a great Thursday. Adios, amigos.